Today on Investigate TV Plus, organs donated to save lives discarded.
To share that precious gift, for it to not be used. It can be heartbreaking for the family.
We reveal why potentially life-saving donations are going unused and how waiting for a transplant can take a toll on American families.
Eventually you'll get used to it. I don't want to get used to it. I'd rather have a new kidney.
Then rebuilding natural defenses against future storms.
This is the biggest project that the state will have completed, and it's important because that matches the challenges that we're facing.
We take an in-depth look at the work to save a vital coastline and why some say the fight to restore it has a long way to go.
Plus, a massive volcanic eruption transformed the landscape, but now millions of visitors are inspired to witness nature's remarkable recovery. We give you an up-close look at the otherworldly destination.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. There are children, parents, partners, and friends. The lives of 100,000 people in the U.S. hang in the balance dependent on an organ transplant. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Every day, an average of 13 people die waiting for a transplant. And every 8 minutes, another person is added to the national transplant waiting list. While experts say registering to be an organ donor can help save lives, our investigation uncovered 20% of the organs donated in the U.S. are never transplanted.
Investigative reporter Sierra Cummings is in Atlanta, Georgia, with an in-depth look at what's preventing these life-saving procedures.
Throwing discs with them.
Christina Hernandez and her daughter, Hannah Wood, walked through East Roswell Park with this specific destination in mind, Disc Golf Hole 7. The area dedicated to Cesar Hernandez.
Look.
The plaque here memorializes the beloved father and husband.
He loved this park. I feel closer to him. Like I feel like he's here.
Ace number 5.
Aside from his love of disc golf and family,
So full of life. Caesar loved to have fun.
he enjoyed lip-syncing contests. His widow says just like with singing, he gave everything his all in life. So it comes as no surprise, even in death, he's given his all too, as an organ donor.
Does it feel like 2 years?
Yeah, some days it does. Some days it feels longer than 2 years. Some days it feels like a lifetime that he's been gone.
Okay, now place one hand on his forehead and the other hand under his neck and tilt his head back.
Okay, baby, stay with
Okay.
me. It's harder for him to breathe on his back. I'm rolling him back over. Baby, stay with me. Stay with me, please. Oh my God, this is so scary. Baby, I love you so much. Please stay.
Cesar died from an aortic rupture, tear in the wall of a major artery back in 2023. Since then,
Fully processing the loss, I don't think has yet occurred because I've been in survival mode since then.
Mama's got you.
after the 51-year-old's death, Christine learned not only was he an organ donor, but also he agreed to a full-body harvest, which includes donating skin, eyes, and tissue.
That is the epitome of Caesar. Give everything, leave nothing on the table kind of thing. So, and he did.
His organ donations transformed and saved lives. Our investigation found saving lives is not always the case with organ donations. Our analysis uncovered in Georgia alone in 2024, 1 in 6 organs were discarded, meaning despite doctors recovering the organ from a deceased person, 17% of the time, the organ was not used at all to save a life. The gap even bigger for specific organs like kidneys. Our statewide analysis showed 1 in 4 kidneys were never transplanted.
If anything, it makes it worse.
The numbers matter to people like Clyde Williams. Severe flu eventually caused acute kidney failure, he says. He does dialysis 3 times a week while waiting for a kidney.
Now, he said, eventually you'll get used to it. I don't want to get used to it. I don't want to get used to it.
I'd rather have a new kidney.
Does that keep you up at night, that like your future could look different if you don't get what you need to get from being on this waiting list?
Yes, it does. At times it keeps me up.
His health deteriorating, leading to a leg amputation. At 42 years old with 2 active sons, he misses being able to run around with them.
I'm in this chair. I hardly leave the house unless I'm going to dialysis.
So when organs go unused, it not only costs patients like Clyde time, but also money. His older sister created a fundraiser for all the mounting medical fees.
I was just watching him and I thought about how good of a person he is and what he means to me and the kids, and just so many things as my baby, right?
The agency which facilitates the donation process says the rate at which organs go discarded reflects a national crisis. Across the U.S., 20% of all organs are never transplanted.
We are as concerned as everyone else. We don't like that when an individual or their family has chosen to share that precious gift, for it to not be used. It can be heartbreaking for the family. It's a secondary loss.
We found the main factors an organ goes unused include the quality or condition. For example, a liver that's too damaged from alcohol use. Logistics, like the commute time it takes to deliver the organ, which can only be out of the body for so long before it goes bad. Potential patient outcomes. If the doctor involved believes transplanting the organ into the patient could have negative outcomes, they may decide against even trying to transplant. The Association of Organ Procurement Organizations says it's likely the leading cause of increased discarded rates, calling it a misalignment of metrics. Suggesting because transplant centers at hospitals must be mindful of negative success rates, they have been historically disincentivized from accepting more complex organs.
It's tragic because the families really want to help as many people as possible. I think the goal is that everybody gets a transplant. And we know right now, nationally, 13 people pass away every day waiting for an organ. So that's the goal, is to stop that.
A 2022 study commissioned by Congress outlined recommendations to address the issue, including changing policies and algorithms that lead transplant centers to decline organs in the first place.
Still to come, a devastating storm sparks support to save vanishing wetlands.
And unfortunately, a disaster had to happen to really kind of give us the clarity and motivation to really think big, to be ambitious.
How Hurricane Katrina shifted focus on coastal restoration, and why experts believe New Orleans could now be better protected.
Then later, as videos of healing crystals and gemstones go viral, fakes threaten to dull the industry.
I absolutely know I've ran into getting fake ones, so I started scrutinizing other things more and more.
We'll explain how to spot the real deal in a sea of shiny stones.
It's been 2 decades since one of the worst natural disasters in U.S. history, Hurricane Katrina,
making landfall on the Gulf Coast as a Category 3 storm. It caused billions of dollars in damage, and more than 1,000 people lost their lives.
One of the hardest hit states, Louisiana, where storm surge caused the levee system to fail, plunging a majority of New Orleans underwater.
But in the years since, communities have rebounded and tourism is thriving.
The discussion was how fast can we do this? It was never about whether we do it or not.
In the wake of Hurricane Katrina, some of the country's best engineering minds teamed up to help better protect the Crescent City.
It's a whole different world than what it was when Hurricane Katrina hit.
And that includes restoring the state's coastline.
The reporter John Snell takes an in-depth look at how the storm fueled support to rebuild Louisiana's natural defenses.
Airboats cruised down the notorious ship channel that funneled Katrina's surge into the heart of New Orleans and St. Bernard. Sandwiched between the now closed Mississippi River Gulf Outlet and Lake Bourne, a broken wetland has been reborn.
This is going to be the biggest project we've ever done.
3,200 acres of new coastal wetlands, the largest marsh creation project in Louisiana history. Planners say it provides a layer of natural protection for the levees rebuilt after Katrina.
And unfortunately, a disaster had to happen to really kind of give us the clarity and motivation to really think big, to be ambitious.
Coastal scientist Alicia Renfro with the National Wildlife Federation sees Katrina as a wake-up call.
So when we talk about the disaster that was Hurricane Katrina, it was a failure of the levee system, but it was also a failure of the natural ecosystem. So much of it had disappeared. We had no longer had a robust system outside of those levees.
Over the last century, geologists tell us about 2,000 square miles of Louisiana disappeared. Oilfield canals drew salt water into the interior marsh and altered natural tidal flows. Levees built for navigation locked the Mississippi River in a straitjacket, depriving the marsh of sediment. The wetlands, disconnected from the river, sank. This NOAA image depicts what the coast would have looked like north of Port Fourchon in 1932 versus an actual satellite image in modern times. Katrina galvanized support for coastal restoration. Simone Malaz heads the group Restore the Mississippi River Delta.
You can't just build a levee over here or just a piece of marsh over here. We have to be thinking about those things together.
Pre-Katrina, and Rita for that matter, this was the kind of project that coastal advocates only dreamed of. Dozens of them have been completed. 5 years after the hurricanes, another disaster would provide the funding. Court settlements from the 2010 BP oil spill set aside $9 billion for Louisiana. When it came time to divide the money among Gulf Coast states, advocates say Louisiana benefited from already having in place the coastal master plan it developed in Katrina's wake.
We had a science-based process, we had a plan, a blueprint for what our coastline should look like and how we want to invest our money.
State coastal officials estimate Louisiana has rebuilt about 60 miles of barrier islands and beaches. That's in addition to large-scale projects like this one in South Plaquemines Parish. The Spanish Pass restoration turned 6 miles of open water into land. Contractors have spent 3 years on the Lake Bourne project, pumping 13 million cubic yards of dredge material, enough to fill the Superdome 3 times.
I've been here from the very beginning, so I've seen from the rawest stage to the most completed stages, and it's very rewarding.
Planners gave special attention to mimicking nature. Natural-looking bayous allow for tidal flow into and out of the new marsh. Rick Owens is with the Louisiana Wildlife Federation.
This system is, and everything that we benefit from it, from shrimp to crabs to the fish we catch to the alligators to the birds, it all requires that balance. It requires the balance of fresh and salt. It requires the water that moves through here.
The coast today is smaller than before Katrina. Yet advocates say in some ways, Louisiana is in a better place today than it was 20 years ago.
This is the biggest project that the state will have completed, and it's important because that matches the challenges that we're facing.
Since July of 2025, Louisiana pulled the plug on 2 of its largest restoration projects that would have used the power of the Mississippi River to build wetlands. Many scientists argue not using the river to build back the coast hinders Louisiana's ability to restore wetlands at the scale needed. But Governor Jeff Landry sided with opponents who feared channeling large amounts of fresh water into certain areas would devastate fisheries, and the cost of the projects ballooned to several $1 billion. Another hurdle: in 2031, money from the BP oil spill runs out. In May of 2025, Congress gave the state a larger share of offshore oil revenue, $500 million over 10 years. But Louisiana has yet to secure a permanent source of funding to keep projects going at the same pace as the last decade.
Coming up, can you tell the difference between real healing crystals and cheap dyed glass?
You can find fakes in stores, you can find them at gem shows, so you really need to be careful if you're getting into crystals.
We're digging into the crystal craze and helping you spot the fakes. Crystals Crystals and gemstones. Experts say throughout human history, people have believed that jewels possess special properties beyond their aesthetic appeal.
Yes, some incorporate crystals into decor and jewelry to restore energy and promote peace, while others use gems to help heal specific parts of the body. But no matter the use, experts stress the importance of finding high-quality sellers.
Reporter Susan Campbell introduces us to one business owner in Sedona, Arizona, who's on a mission to make sure her customers know how to get the real deal.
The sand and debris up into space that's solidified. And then
when Jamie Inglett started her crystal collection, she had no idea it would turn into this.
Keeps getting more popular.
The healing crystal and gemstone industry is booming, fueled in part by social media. #crystals has 20 billion views on TikTok. Jamie's up to 215,106 Instagram followers and counting.
Crystals make people feel amazing.
And she just took her online success to a new storefront in Sedona.
You don't have to believe in crystal healing or crystal energy to appreciate their beauty. All of the
Shannon Wimberly has been a crystal collector for a few years.
I absolutely know I've ran into getting fake ones, so I started scrutinizing other things more and more.
That's something Jamie's passionate about.
As a consumer, you really kind of have to do your own research.
She says you could end up with something that was grown in a lab but sold as a natural stone.
This is a lab-grown crystal we purchased from a local shop here in Sedona and paid about over $100 for this.
What should you pay for a lab-grown crystal like this?
You can probably find it online for $5 to $20.
So how could I tell if I walked into a shop that this is lab-grown?
You'll see hundreds of these, depending on the store. They'll all look about the same.
You could also end up with something that's completely synthetic, made out of plastic or glass.
I recommend asking questions, like asking the shop, where was this from? And then they should be able to at least tell you the country of origin, if not the actual mine name.
Want to see a fake?
I believe it's glass.
What makes you think it's glass?
The texture, and it just sounds different than a natural crystal. It doesn't get cold. And then unnatural dye patterns.
Here's another example.
This one doesn't have natural grooves and textures like moldavite does, and it has a very uniform shape.
Did you know when you bought it was fake?
Yeah, I bought it for an example, but they were insisting that it was natural. So you can find fakes in stores, you can find them at gem shows, so you really need to be careful if you're getting into crystals.
You can waste a ton of money.
Yeah.
Inglett explains lab-grown crystals are not an issue as long as it's disclosed by the seller and you know that's what you're buying.
Up next, we take 2 planes, a bus ride, and a hike to reach a remote section of a national park in Alaska, protecting 9,000 years of human history. From Acadia and the Everglades to the Grand Canyon and Yellowstone, more than 85 million acres of breathtaking land is protected by the U.S. National Park Service. That's an area about twice the size of Washington State.
While some of the 63 national parks have become easier to access, other sites require a bit of planning to visit, including Katmai National Park and Preserve in Alaska. One of the largest in the U.S. Park Service, it's only accessible by airplane or boat. And there are historic areas of the park so remote, you have to take a bus and hike to get there.
Reporter Melissa Fry takes us on the journey to the Valley of 10,000 Smokes and shows us how a massive volcanic eruption forever changed the landscape millions now dream of visiting.
There's a peacefulness inside Katmai National Park. The rich teal water flows gently. Birds sing freely. And the snow-capped mountains bring a depth and curiosity of how much is out there. It's 4 million acres of beautiful, abundant, and now protected lands. And in the middle sits the Valley of 10,000 Smokes, evidence of a once turbulent land and violent eruption, and the foundation of this national park.
The Valley of 10,000 Smokes is how we became a national park, how we became a national monument in the first place. It's the site of the largest volcanic eruption in the 20th century.
Today it's a beautiful landscape, but 113 years ago, in June 1912, a single magma vent, now named Nova Rupta, was the site of an eruption that was felt around the world. So powerful that Mount Katmai, more than 6 miles away, collapsed when the magma was rapidly pulled from the mountain.
The wildlife were decimated. Birds were falling out of the sky. The animals, mammals, destroyed. And the salmon did not come back for 5 years. They were just gone.
No deaths? Because the people here knew to leave.
No one who was currently living here in this area had never experienced an eruption themselves, but they had known from knowledge that had been passed down through generations that when the earth quakes, that's a sign.
Years later, explorers returned to the land to find something they'd never seen before. All protected land because of how strangely alive and unique it was then. And today, even with the towering wall of ash, evidence of pyroclastic flows and pumice scattered across the valley floor, there is a new peace and stillness here, as the land remains untouched.
Katmai National Park is also known for its bears. The park boasts one of the largest grizzly bear populations in the world, as thousands gather there to feast on salmon.
Each fall, the park celebrates the bears' hardiness by hosting Fat Bear Week, where people can go online and vote for their favorite chunky bears. I've never been to Alaska. I would like to go, and that's a nice spot, but I don't want to run into any bears.
No, you don't want to go any bears, but it is beautiful. That Fat Bear competition is huge, though. They do like online stuff and everything. I didn't realize it was connected to that. So.
Well, that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Thanks for watching.
On the next Investigate TV Plus, a student survives a school shooting and learns to walk again, only for a rare condition to erase his progress.
You did it once, you're gonna do it twice. I know.
His story of resilience shows how the aftermath of school violence can take a toll on a family. We share their story and why they refuse to give up hope.